Okay, so I'm going to record to this computer. The recording is started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen? Perfect. All right, what I did here, just to take a step back, make sure that this video starts at the right spot. I'm actually going to step one more step back and delete that. We're going to go through the scaling real quick on the section, just so we cover it in the video. So if you go to the course modules page and you get the construction 241 section. So I think I went to here, final project right here, construction 241 section draw DWG. If you download that, you'll have something that looks just like this. We're going to use Control C and Control V to bring it into our project. Once it's in your project, again, you guys have probably already scaled it correctly, but I want to go through this. We want to make sure that this scales to a sizable scale that we can use with our house. So I want to take this, select it, type in scale, S-C-A-L-E, click a base point of anywhere. I like to choose this little tail, go up and to the right, and I'm going to type in 0.025 and hit enter. Once that happens, you'll see that this thing drops down, and I'm going to turn my ortho off, and you'll now see that this section head is pretty representative of the right scale for my building. So real quick, I'm going to draw a couple lines in here real quick. Okay, and let's just say, okay, let's say that this right here, we'll copy this, and I'll turn my ortho back on, and we'll copy this 4 inches down. All right, so this is going to be a little bathroom, and maybe this is the room that I want to detail for my interior section. So there might be a cabinet, and I'm just going to draw some basic stuff here, right? So I'm going to just draw a little cabinet with my little sink, right? Again, you can utilize the blocks that I've provided for some of this. Okay, there's a little sink with a little faucet. Okay, maybe I want to put in a toilet. Okay, so I'll just do something like, I don't know. That's a terrible toilet, but you get the picture. All right, so, and maybe there's a mirror right here. So we need, one of the requirements is to have at least one internal section. So what I want to do is utilize this section head and the full section body, right? This is the head, this is the tail. And I want to utilize it and show that, hey, this section I want to cut right here. So I'm going to take my section, and I can move it up here, and I'm going to use this cool little dot there, and actually going to rotate it 90. And I'm going to bring this guy over here, and I'm actually going to turn my ortho off so I can put it right where I want it. And I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to drag the tail down past this wall. So what this is saying is it's saying, hey, we've got a section. This section is going to be referred to with a sheet number and detail number, which we will fill out once we create the section and place it onto the sheet. But this is saying, hey, we are standing right here, and we are looking west, right? And we see that by the direction that this head is facing. Now, if this head was facing this way, what direction am I looking? Looking east, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that section head determines what direction you're going to be looking. Okay, the end of this has a little triangle here that I can stretch the tail. Okay, so, and the section is going to be represented by the distance between the section head and the section tail. Okay, so what that means for me is I need to draw my next section. So I'm going to use a nice little 2-foot offset right there. And then I'm going to draw 8 feet from there. Also going to take this, use my 2-foot offset. And I'm going to come down here, and that's going to be the bottom of my wall. Okay. So we draw all of this in a way that looks the same direction as the section's facing. So now I could go ahead right now and start turning this and rotating it and doing whatever I want, but it doesn't allow me to use construction lines anymore to help me draw this. So what I want to do, and I'm going to go ahead and just draw a quick line up here. I'm going to build my first little story pole. Okay, this is what again, just construction lines. And I'm going to draw this out to roughly 30 inches. Okay. And that is going to be my countertop height. I'm also going to draw one roughly 24 inches. And that's going to be the height of the toilet seat. And we'll use the back of the toilet seat as 30 inches as well. So if I use my use my lines here, I want to draw a line from here all the way across. And we actually already have the edge of that. Let's go ahead and say that this isn't exactly touching the wall. Let's go ahead and give us a little bit of distance between our wall and the edge of our sink. And
how can we scale the thing again to put it inside our measurement?
Say what?
How can we scale the thing that you put in there right now?
This?
That one? Yeah.
How do we scale that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I took it from here and I hit Control-C, which is going to copy it, and I go to my drawing and I hit Control-V, it'll come in this massive size, right? Once it's in here, I want to scale it at 0.025. Okay, so I'm going to essentially make it 2.5% of its normal size. So I'm going to select the section, type in scale, select the base point. Again, I like the bottom left of my tail here. Move my mouse to the top right. I actually can move my mouse any direction I want. It doesn't matter where I move that mouse. What matters is I type in 0.025. Once I hit that number in there and press enter, now that section head is the scale that we needed. Cool? All right. So let's go back over here. Okay. And I'm just working with my construction lines. Okay, so just drawing that through. Same thing here. And then this one is kind of tricky, but you capture this. I'm just going to capture this by both sides of this line, or both sides of this seat, I should say. So I'm going to get the tangent on that side. All right, so once I've got these construction lines drawn out, I can take a line from my story pole and drag it down. Take both my story pole lines, drag them down, and now I can trim out what I don't need. Okay, so I don't need that piece there. That piece, that piece, that piece, or that piece. So that just drew my countertop at 30 inches. Okay, and I could go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and grab the center of that. That's going to be the door. Okay. And then maybe I want to add something that looks kind of like this that allows me to show that it's an opening. Okay, you could do that. We could make these dashed. Okay, there's all types of things we could do here to show that this is a front of a counter. Maybe I want to put a little door handle on there. Okay, I don't care exactly what it looks like, but we're trying to depict. Maybe I just like this, and maybe I want to mirror. Across there. Okay, so there's my cabinet. Okay,
Yes,
now
sir.
I need my toilet.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
show me how, can you show me real quick how you did that dash line?
How I did which
Yeah, you made that line dashed.
I didn't actually make it dashed,
Oh,
but I said you could. So,
okay. I was like, that was quick.
let's go ahead and do that. Hey, Todd, let's do that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do real quick. Okay, we're gonna go here, go to layer properties. Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna build a new layer called dashed.
Yep.
And right here under line type where it says continuous, I'm gonna change that to load.
Yeah.
And I just want just this dash right there is fine. And click OK.
I know we went over that, but it one slipped me. I was
No worries.
struggling.
So now that I built a layer called dash and I made the line type dashed, if I draw, or actually I can take both of these and make them dashed, now they're dashed, right?
Sweet.
So I did that
Thank
by,
you.
again, making a new layer and then taking the line type of that layer. You might have to come in here and actually hit the load button, and then you can get all the different hidden and phantom and dashed and borders and all the rest of the stuff.
Very
Good
good.
question
Thanks.
though. Okay, so again, maybe that shows a door opening, whatever. Okay. I don't care about the toilet here as far as like me being super accurate as what it looks like. If you want to utilize your profile views in the blocks that I provided, by all means, this would be a perfect time to use those, okay? That being said, I'm just going to go ahead and quickly trim this up to something that kind of looks like your toilet. I guess you could sit on that, okay? And again, I'd trim these back off and, get rid of that. So now that I've got something that looks, trim these and we'll trim that. Okay, so now you can kind of see that, hey, maybe that's too tall. Maybe I want it to actually be, a little bit shorter. And maybe they should be actually connecting. I'm going to move both my plan view and my section view together, right? Because they're going to move one of them. Any move on the plan view is going to make that change on the section view, right? So if I want to keep them true, I want to move them both together. So now I've got something that looks like that. I'm happy with it. Okay. And again, I'm just going to trim out these last two pieces here. So now I've got and then maybe the last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and have a vanity up here. Okay, so maybe I've got a mirror that looks something like that. Okay. But does that section view do me any good like that? No, it doesn't. Okay. It's hard for me to know what's going on. It's harder for anyone else to know what's going on. Okay. So what we want to do, and this is only after we've done all of our detailing. Okay. We want to do the detailing first. Utilize your plan view, build construction lines off your plan view to get everything in the right spot. Once you have it all in the right spot, we can now take this whole thing, use our rotate command, specify maybe this base point here, and the base point might be something that you're going to come back to. And this is why I like to leave little rabbit trails. So I'm going to draw a line actually off of here. And I like to draw 2 little lines that look like that. So what this allows me to do is once I rotate this, and I can rotate it from this base point here. Once I rotate this 90, oh, and that was the wrong direction. I can actually, the cool thing is I don't have to keep it here anymore. So I can move this, move it here, rotate it with this base point here. We'll rotate it orthographically 90 degrees, which makes it look like that. And now I can move the whole thing back in alignment because I left myself my cursor. And now when I look at this, how cool does that look, right? I got my internal section view right there. And right next to it, I now have a section that's, I can kind of see the toilet profile view. I can see my cabinet. I can see my mirror there, okay? And maybe there's a window in there. Maybe there is a window here. We could have a window in there too, right? Whatever there is, we need to capture it in both in plan and profile view. Any questions? So it's pretty self-explanatory, but I would highly recommend going through maybe week 7's video of how to draw the profile. Okay, it will bring this drawing up. Again, we only did the north wall in week 7. Week 8, we did the east wall, but the concepts are the same, whether you're working sideways, right side up, upside down, okay? The concepts are the same, and the fact that we need to keep these aligned, we need to keep some type of a story pole here so we can quickly pull our dimensions, and then it's very easy to rotate it if we need to later, okay? Any questions?
Yeah, so in the final project, once we do that elevation or that view you just did, that's going to go on a separate page though, right? It's not going to sit off to the side like that.
Correct. It will. Yes, you're 100% correct. It will sit off to, and so that's why a lot of times, maybe you'll make this, or maybe you've made your elevation here. Okay, maybe you've made your whole elevation for the west side. It's sometimes nice maybe to take that whole thing. So maybe I had this elevation that looked, something like that, represented this amount of space, right? Whatever. Okay. Maybe I need to take that and just move it 100 feet to the left or 50 feet to the left. So then that way I can come in here and work. Okay. You might need to move yourself around. Next week, we're going to be taking all of the views that we have and starting to look at how are we going to put these on sheets. And do we need to take the views that we have and reorganize them or copy them and create different layouts so that way we can put all the views that we want to on the right sheets. Okay, so great question. For now, we are going to want to keep the layout just like if I go here, so if you pretend that this is your plan view right in the middle, right? Here's going to be your north, east, southwest elevation. If you need to detail something, turn on your ortho and move that 100 feet to the left-hand side. You can always move it back, okay? The biggest thing that we want to do, though, is when you move something, you want to move it orthogonally, right? You want it orthographically moved, so then that way when I move it back, I'm just moving it right. I'm not having to re-elevate it or realign it. Does that make sense? Okay. And we can always set things back up. I like to do things in increments of like 50 or 100. So I'd rather move it 100 feet. Give me all the room I could possibly want, because 100 is a really easy number for me to remember. If I moved it 17 feet. Am I going to remember that I moved it exactly 17? Maybe, maybe not, right? So if you are going to utilize something where you're moving part of your drawing out of the way so you can draw something else, I like to use whole numbers. And even better, move this 100 feet. Come in here, put a little text right underneath it. Says moved. Oh, sorry. Here, specify both. Moved 100 feet west. Okay. Leave yourself breadcrumbs. Okay. Breadcrumbs are great because now I know how to put the picture back together. Okay. So anything you're moving around just to create space, we want to leave ourselves a note, because you may move this 100. You may come up here and move another one. You may move another one. You may move this back. You're not always going to remember what that number was. Okay. So little notes like that, just putting a text note in there. Oh, moved 100 feet west. Okay. So now I know that when I set up my sheet, I'm going to move this 100 feet to the east. And I'm going to leave that text right there because I don't need to move that, right? So that's just my breadcrumb that I'm just going to leave hanging out there. Or once I've removed it, I can take that and delete it, right? So don't be afraid to move your work around. Todd, can I share your screen? Can you share your screen? So I'm gonna share Todd's screen, or have him share his screen real quick. Todd has gone a little bit above and beyond, which is great. Putting some
wouldn't say
views in
that.
here. But what I want you to see on Todd's screen, once you can
is it
figure out how to
showing?
share.
Okay, here we go.
So you'll notice that we started with the whole thing in the center right there. And that's where he drew all of his construction stuff on to the right and left. But he took that same concept and now made other profile views that start aligning with each other. So he copied that down and then drew a full profile view of the house with a gable roof on it, right? And then there's a different profile view looking at the other direction. But what I'm getting at is, don't be afraid to create more views and copy and move them around. Okay, you're not stuck with just the center view and your 4 other wings, quote unquote, of the butterfly. Okay, so you can by all means utilize your other views, copy them, paste them. We can always work together next week and the following to get these laid out, so that way your sheets come together really nicely. Last but not least,
Was there anything in particular you wanted to see? I just moved it
I just
around a
wanted to
little bit.
show that we're not limited to the little tiny area that we were started with, is what I'm getting at. So
Yes, sir. All right, cool.
just that you can copy things around. Like you have 3 different copies of that floor plan, and you can go ahead and utilize, drawing construction lines off them, drawing something else off them.
I just stripped it down to build my choice plan just a few minutes ago.
Perfect. And so the last thing that I wanted to get at is dimensions. Okay, dimensions are a requirement. We need to know how big things are. I want to be able to take your plan and, quote unquote, build this, right? I want to know where, if I'm looking at an elevation, I want to know how high is your window, right? Can you, and let's zoom out real quick, Todd. Can you go to one of your elevation views? Go to like that one right there. Perfect. So this is great. However, what are we missing here?
I still have other dimensions to put in there.
I know you do, but I'm just getting at it that this
Sure.
is dimensioned, right?
Heights.
But I don't know where that window lives in space. So I know how big it is, but I don't know where to frame that window right now, right?
Sure.
So make sure that your dimensions have some type of a relative meaning to the floor,
Yeah.
which the door does, right? But like, let's take that dimension there. Let's give you an extra dimension underneath that for window, from the bottom of the window to the top of the window, as well as the bottom of the window to the ground. So I know that the bottom sill is located at 2'6" or whatever. Okay. So any dimensions, just make sure that they're going to a prominent location, not just dimensioning itself. Okay.
Sure, I got off a little bit, and I think you hit it. What happened to me is I moved some stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the ortho on, and I got ever so
Everything
slightly
kind of
off.
gets slightly skewed.
Yeah. So what I was having to do, and I had dimensions on everything, but I had to go back and kind of strip it down and line everything back up and
Right.
and get it. So I'll go back in and put the dimensions in.
Cool. So the last thing I want to say about the dimensions is this is a course that you guys are going to be providing me a digital file. I would like to have a dimension that's somewhat legible, right? If I zoom in, can you zoom in on your dimensions? Just on one of your floor plans, like go to, so like if I zoom in, I can clearly see what I'm dealing with. Like that's a nice size dimension for that room. I'm totally cool with keeping dimensions that big. You don't need to make them massive is what I'm getting at. Okay, so I don't need to see them on a PDF. I can zoom in on your drawing to get that dimension on there, okay? We do want them in architectural inches. I probably, if you click on that, I probably would turn on, click on your dimension real quick, one of those. I would probably, oh, you've got two of them selected. You got something else selected besides the dimension. Just click one dimension, there you go. On the left-hand side in your properties, I would probably just, because I'm nitpicky, keep going down. There is a suppress 0 inches, second one from one more down. I would take that off and say no, just because I'm nitpicky. I like seeing things in 30 feet, 0 inches instead of just seeing 30 feet. Am I going to dock you for it if you don't have it? No, but you like above where it says 4 feet there, it's one of those things that you can get away with it, but it looks so much more professional when I know that there's no trailing inches on that 4 foot. I know that it's not trying to round it off on me. My biggest fear is that 4 foot is 4 foot and 1/4 inch, and my rounding is set to the nearest 1/2 inch, and it rounded that off to the nearest 4 foot for me. So since I don't see, and keep going down.
I'm not sure what I did. I was trying to
You're
change
good.
them all.
Just go down on the left-hand side. You're good. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Right there where it says varies, click on that varies. Now click the drop down, hit no. Now
Okay.
all of Todd's dimensions say 11 feet 6 inches or 4 feet 0 inches. Now I've confirmed that there's 0 inches past that 4 feet. It's just one of those things again, I'm not gonna be nitpicky about it, but in a professional setting, you almost would never suppress that 0 just so you can make sure you're accurate. So anyhow, looks good though, Todd. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, sir,
By next week, I would really, really strive to have at least your floor plan, basic wall layout, basic window layout on your floor plan, and at least all 4 of your elevation views of your exterior by next week. Okay. If you're not at that point, you're going to be struggling in the last week to try to put things together. And I don't want to see that. I'd rather us all be together and us have a little extra time than you trying to scramble to get some views put together, just so you can turn it in. Okay, so let's get some content in there as far as your wall elevations go. And then next week, we can start taking a look at setting up all of our sheets. We're going to bring in our title blocks, create multiple title blocks, depending on what views you want to put on what sheet. Each person's going to do their own thing, which is fine. Maybe we build a 36 by 48. Maybe you like to keep them small. I don't care, but we'll take a look at getting the sheet set up. And then that's going to give you and me a really good feeling for what you have to complete in the last week, right? Is there just a little bit of detailing that you need to do, or is it pretty major and, do you need to be looking for some additional help? And if you need additional help, please reach out. Okay. I don't want anyone to struggle through this, but I want us to make sure that we're continuing to move forward together, because it seems like a few of us have kind of stopped on the final project. Maybe they weren't here the last couple weeks or something, and we're kind of starting today. And if you're starting today, that's fine. Okay, it just means you need to put the effort forward by the next week to get, 50 to 75% of this drawing done. Okay. All right, thank you everybody for your time. I will go ahead and stop the video and post this tonight, or hopefully tomorrow. By tomorrow, hopefully it'll post tonight because it's a lot shorter. Any questions before we sign off? Okay, nothing's due for a submittal tonight. Okay, so thank you everyone for being here. And we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you.